Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of the... I was about to say the Perpetual Chess Podcast, but that'd be a little bit sad. The French Bishop Chesscast. Today we're going to be talking about all the upsets of the FIDE World Cup and all other news stories that we deemed appropriate. I am joined today by Chess Chopin, aka David, and MasterChessDojo, also known by his real name, National Master John MacArthur.
Thank you, Rogan.
Hello.
Right. We're going to say something after that, right?
I thought David was about to say something. I was going to say something, then I heard.
Okay. I'll mute myself.
So here we go. As predicted, Magnus Carlsen is paired up with Ari and Tari as they were the expected somewhat favorites, although Ari and Tari had a slight upset in the 64th seed as himself the 65th seed. I wouldn't necessarily call it an upset, seated directly next to each other. That was probably the tightest match of the entire second round, game moves notwithstanding. Remarkably, Abdusattorov, our Olympian gold medal winner and gold team medal winner, suffered drastically at the hands of Chanel from Turkey in the second section. That was probably the greatest upset of a player seeded 112th over the 17th seed in the tournament. And David, you said that Abdusattorov also had...
Yes, he finished second, I believe, on the Tata Steel this year. And it's kind of it's kind of pity that he got eliminated from the World Cup now.
The energy level of the up-and-coming and rising stars is really what powers them. They have a certain amount of energy. In fact, I believe in the first round there was a match that was so tight there were 10 tiebreak games after the two classical games, which is quite incredible. And it's no wonder that there were more upsets as Sam Shankland got bitten by Shitko in this one, unfortunately. Unfortunate also that Hikaru Nakamura had to go to tiebreaks in his match. He did not put away his opponent in the classical games. And I think you mentioned something about his standing, David.
Yeah, he dropped back to world number 3 in the ratings. And Caruana is
world number 2. 3. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'll be able to sleep at night still. But he has the rest of the tournament to make up for it because he did prevail in both of the tiebreak games, dominating his opponent. Another player that reached the tiebreak stage, which I was kind of surprised about for his talent, would be Arjun Argaizi. Arjun Argaizi actually had to go to tiebreaks, but he finished in fine form with a queen sacrifice on f5 in his second tiebreak game. It was quite brilliant. I was very impressed. He had to make a statement. Other players that may or may not have had to go through a little bit of a hurdle in their matches. Boris Gelfand, former World Championship challenger, lost to Ferenc Berkes, aka Fatso Berkes. And as it turns out, that is not a sizing error, by the way, on my part. And he goes by the nickname willingly and happily, laughably. Berkes is now going to face Vitugov in the third round. And, as an 82nd ranked player, he might be one of the deepest players, if not the deepest. If you don't count Shitko over Sam Shankland. Shitko was number 150. You can believe it. Out of something short of 206 players, because not all 206 players were able to make it. Rogan?
Yes?
Not all
yes.
players
Sorry. Yeah, that's my cue. Whose line is it anyway? Okay, we have a list of news stories today. The first of which is all the people who have had a terrible amount of problems trying to get to this FIDE World Cup, and one of the most notable of which is Eric Hansen of Canada. He unfortunately had a nightmare. this is from his tweet. I had a nightmare experience with dealing with Air Canada when I wanted to check into the flight, and it's taking me to Twitter. I don't want to go there. Okay. The main
Restart
part
that one if
of
you'd
this
like.
is that the FIDE World Cup first round absentees have avoided being fined or punished for being late because, as with any large tournament that is international, there is a spate of people who cannot turn up at the appointed time for whatever reason, usually nothing to do with themselves. Hansen wrote on Twitter that he had even traveled to the airport in Canada, but was unable to fly to Azerbaijan because his visa did not arrive in time. That's not his fault. So it's it's showing some maturity from the FIDE not to go and punish him for it. Of course, there is a few other people who did not turn up as well. Christopher Yu, I don't think turned up either.
I believe Christopher Yu may have been under the weather. I'm not entirely positive.
I'm trying to find the rest of the people, but this article is incredibly unclear. I probably should have color coded it. Yeah, no, there was quite a few people who didn't turn up. Massive spate of problems. FIDE didn't punish him. Good going, FIDE.
That's
Yeah,
well, they shouldn't.
Do they still get the prize?
They're not going to get
that's
the
a little bit far.
$3,000 unless you make an appearance.
No, not punishing them is as good as you're going to get, I think.
And I haven't heard any word on the dress code. In the past, the dress code has been
that is
issue.
Quite true.
Right, David?
Yeah, I mean, but that's like old story from 2017, I believe, where Anton Kovalyov.
Yeah, I do believe that players shouldn't show up in basketball shorts to play a world-class event, especially one that's the qualifier for the World Championship. As it turns out, I was reading the regulations, and the top 3 players from this section are going on to qualify for the candidates, which is quite a big deal.
I mean, yes, it is a big deal, I think, but I don't think we should go overboard on this sort of thing. Dress code is always, it's only a problem if you want to make it a problem. And I don't believe that dress code is something that anyone should be, belittled or fined for. I mean, unless it's outrageously annoying, and then the onus is on you to be a little bit appropriate, and then I think you're fine.
Fair enough. But I would imagine that if you sign a contract that you are going to be wearing slacks and or a collared shirt, that you might want to read the fine print.
Yeah, that is true. Up. But I mean, then we're talking. Obviously, when you sign a contract, you're making an agreement to do something. But my point is probably the contract shouldn't exist. But that's just my thoughts on it. But obviously, once you've signed something, and them's are the rules, you try do your best to go along with what you agreed to.
Indeed.
Okay, do we have we got so we're going on to our next story.
Next story.
I don't know if this is the one the story that you guys thought would be it, but this is the one that's in my this is the one that's on my Chrome at the moment. Rishi Sunak is set to announce £500,000 worth of government funding for chess, and for those people who are unlucky enough to not be under the British pound, that is a shitload of money. Will announce he's announced $500,000 for funding for chess in the near future. The money will provide major support for the England's men's and women's international chess teams, plus a boost for teaching the game in state schools, along with a plan to install 100 chess tables in public parks, which is very, very good.
And I believe that one of the chancellors, yes, Rachel Reeves, challenged Prime Minister to a chess game or a chess match. Sometimes the word match, which usually indicates more than one game, because she doesn't think that 100 chess tables in UK parks is ambitious enough. So they're really taking the bull by the horns here if they really want more than 100 tables in United Kingdom parks. But I guess if you're thinking about all United Kingdom parks, that is not just London parks. That is quite few, considering how many cities there are in the UK.
Well, it is. It's very. I mean, it's very, very comical that her only objection is it's not enough. Not that it shouldn't happen at all, which is very good. It's good that when your only objection is that it wasn't good enough, and not that it wasn't there in the first place. But that's yeah. But that's it sounds like a good idea. I don't know how expensive it is to put chess boards into a park picnic table bench thing. With 500,000, you should be getting more than
Well, in the United
100. I would
States, we
think.
have these. Right. I think that we have concrete tables with chessboard inlays on the surfaces. Most of these tables are used for other purposes, not just chess. Let's say in Chinatown, there will be usually games of mahjong or shangxi rather than chess going on these tables, and Scrabble, of course, and other things. I was even listening to a streamer earlier who was a new streamer I'd never followed before, and she was streaming for some strange reason on Lichess. She came from a chess.com stream, and people, of course, immediately jumped upon her and criticized her for her choice of equipment. And she said that she couldn't take chess.com because it felt like she was playing on a software unit for Scrabble.
Wow.
Rather than chess. I know. I was like, whoa, that was a definition I had never heard before.
I have to say, as a ChessCom partner, I disavow that.
I believe it. Well, even in on the same token, in one of the most recent World Cup update on Perpetual Chess podcast, Ben Johnson was pressing Levon Aronian, and Aronian also likened the fact that when he goes on chess.com, he is unable to find what he is looking for, and it takes him way too many clicks to get where he's going to, as opposed to a regular chess site such as Lichess or another site that he mentioned, and I'm trying to recall the name of the site that he mentioned. But he says I can get straight to the information that I'm looking for, or the opening library, within 1 or 2 clicks, rather than swimming around in it. It's not just the chess sets that are making chess accessible to the public. It's also what the audience needs is fewer clicks, more accessibility to what they want to play. When they want to play chess, they just want to go in and play chess. They don't want to keep clicking to chess.
Before I let Chess Chopin have a go at this, I do have one small challenge to that. It has often been compared, the comparison between chess.com and Lichess has often been one between Lichess's ability to get round easily and chess.com's, chess.com being a little bit chaotic. I don't think that is a honest assessment. Before the reason is Lichess just does not have a lot of stuff. What it does have, it does well, and I totally agree with that. But chess.com has just a lot more free and premium stuff that they put into their site. And I think it'd be unfair to say, well, I can find these 3 things, the only things, easier than I can find the one thing.
No, it's the software interface on the left that's making it difficult.
Well, I mean, there's just a lot more stuff. It's hard to have it's hard to have a sparse and simplistic layout when you've got so many things to put into a chess site. And while I do agree,
perhaps I think they have the same amount. I actually think they have the same amount.
I would challenge you on that. I would.
Let's just consider it for a moment. You've got your tutorial section, which on Lichess is under Learn, and there are 6 sections of that, depending on if you want the chess basics, immediate stuff, or practice exercises. You've got your watching at the top, which is either watching broadcasts of live events, watching streamers, or watching current games. And then you have a very easy assortment of that. And then you have your community area where you can look at the top players, follow top players, or see the rankings of the top players, or and that would be the club. So if I'm looking for, let's just say the other day I was looking for Angelica Valkova's chessboard stream, or and Alexandra Chess's arena to try to join it. And I couldn't literally get to it. I go to live, play, this, that, the other thing. I go to her stream, and I find the link on Twitch, and then I click on the link on Twitch, and it opens up the chess.com playing area that I need to be in, because I couldn't find it on the chess.com site, and it was just awkward. I think that it's the same amount of stuff, interestingly enough. I just like the categorization on the top menu a lot easier. When you open Lichess at the beginning, you're given a quick pairing table immediately when you log in. You've got the quick pairing table right in front of you. You want one of these games? And there's even a lobby if you don't
I
want to
think
be in a
there's
quick pair or play
easily a
correspondence
50%
games.
difference on the amount of content that chess.com and Lichess has. Easily. I mean, just in the social thing alone, there's coaches, blogs, members, forums, clubs, friends. And I think out of all those things, Lichess has less of the things that they do have, and maybe only 3 out of 6 of those things. And chess news.
This would be a very good podcast for the future. I would definitely like to stack those right next to
The
each
one,
other. The one thing that I'll give chess.com credit for is that they have a lot of tutorial lessons by strong players that they pay. Let's say Ben Feingold's lessons. I love listening to Ben Feingold's lessons, or Grigory Surfer's tutorials, and I apologize to everyone that I might leave out. I attend the most part, but those are the ones that I know I've seen in the recent past, and they all follow the model from the chessclub.com days when Alex Yermolinsky had Every Russian Schoolboy Knows, or International Master John Watson on literature and chess. He would be doing book reviews on chessclub.com. They paid really strong players to provide information on learning tools such as books and things like that, or tutorials. Larry Christensen had Rocking the Ramparts, and I don't remember the name of his attacking stream, but basically it was a stream on attacking chess in chessclub.com. And the chess.com, however, has taken it to a slightly more average level, reaching the average player. And they have better tutorials by stronger players, to a certain extent, reaching the heartland of chess, the common person, the everyman, very, very well. I'll give them credit
I
for having
do
live
believe Chess Chopin was
lesson
about to say
tutorials by
something
very strong
before
players on another day.
before we did our little point counterpoint.
thank you. Yeah, I was going to say that chess.com like videos are like pretty good, but one thing, like since chess.com bought chess24, the chess24 videos are also really good, but they are slowly
Indeed.
incorporating the videos back to chess.com, but there's like most of the stuff is still on chess24, and I think they should like merge the two things, since they like merge Twitch streams and stuff. Also, one thing I wanted to say is that like chess.com has more stuff than Lichess, and I agree with Rogan. The one thing I think Lichess is better and than chess.com is analysis of the games. Like the database, you can like cross references like with more games on Lichess than on chess.com. Like at least to me, I just find that the database like is really limited.
You also have a choice of the Lichess community games as part of a database versus the professional master games in the database versus your own games.
That's really good.
In the opening explorer. And although I'm not going to dispute the quality of the amount of money that they put into the chess.com content, because it is very good, average player, I'd just say I want my students to analyze their games without the computer having analyzed it. So when you go to a game review in Lichess, you're not forced to accidentally get all of the computer. You have to go a little bit out of your way to make sure that you don't accidentally
exactly
analysis on chess.com, whereas on Lichess you can analyze it without the engine to your heart's content, and then only get the engine information.
I do believe there's a small point that can be made that you might be maybe suffering from good player bias just a little bit, because I know for me, I'm not the biggest person ever to cross reference games, and I have to say that is a very handy thing. and I think Chess.com should do a better job incorporating it and doing their own version of that. But I also do believe that people of a much younger or younger in their chess journey don't really need that feature so much, and that the Chess.com's ability to simply tell you how reasonably accurately you played a game and what you need to kind of work on is much better. And it even gives you handy graphs in order to show you in a simplistic way how good you were when you thought you were doing well, and how bad you were when you thought you were doing poorly. It gives you a simplistic picture of how to rate your game, which I think is best for a lower rated player that you two are simply not. I mean, I'm teetering on.
Well, I'm going to let David comment on it first because he's at the higher end. I believe David is stronger than me. So I'm going to let David comment on that first before I take the middle ground.
I mean, both are good. That should be like the the general assessment.
Well, I'm going to
But
take it. I'll take it from the chess instructor part of the game, where you can tell people that they're not doing well or that they are doing well, and you can literally give them the moves that they're supposed to
mhm.
play. But that's like giving them a fish instead of teaching them how to fish. When you have a cross-referenced game and you see that you played the first 7 moves like Magnus
And then you can,
Carlsen and you
yeah,
lost, and now you go and you click on Magnus Carlsen's game, guess what? Magnus Carlsen shows you how to continue those 7 moves the proper way in its entirety. Where if you are just told, "Oh, this is a blunder. This was a good move. This is a bad move. You should have played this move." It sort of reminds me of a recent interview with an actress, I think Maggie Q, who is a Chinese action movie star who was in one of the Mission Impossible movies, and I think she was La Femme Nikita in a television series. She said that when she had Jackie Chan as an instructor in the martial arts, he would criticize and critique everything that she did while she was trying to learn it. And at the same time, she actually needed to see how to do it better rather than just being told that she was doing it wrong. And when you have the opportunity to have the Lichess database available to you, and the interesting thing is, another coach pointed out to me, I didn't think it was even last year. I'm trying to recall, and I beg their forgiveness that I don't recall who it was that pointed it out to me specifically. Might have been Grandmaster Jonathan Tisdall from Norway. But you can look for the type of mistakes using the Lichess database. So you can actually signal, I just want 1800 rated players' games in this opening. And you can see the types of statistics will change than a 2200 rated players in this opening. So you'll actually get to see the types of mistakes made by players of various levels in actual games played. So you can actually see a mass of players running into trouble in certain opening choices. So you can choose your openings based on, yeah, the Budapest doesn't score very well at the highest levels, but I'm a 1600 player and the Budapest is like scoring better than white. Like the people that are 1600 don't handle it very well. So therefore, I'm going to play this opening at my level, score the points, and then I'm going to graduate myself to another opening at the next level and do the same appropriate study using actual games that you learn from. The learning by watching games we talked about in the previous podcast. I think that having that accessibility without necessarily needing to crack a book is priceless.
and sometimes you can actually leak World Championship preparation with Lichess too.
Yes, that's right.
It,
Sometimes you
it's
might accidentally be following the World
it's
Championship
so
game,
nice to actually
and
find the
Bozo
games.
versus Bozo turns out to be Rapport versus Digler.
Yeah,
But no, chess.com has a wealth
I will.
of quality stuff available. But in the interest of merging what they've purchased from Chess24 with what they have already instituted, it's going to require a major overhaul in their software design, because the amount of uh, the amount of new material, tutorials, and news stories, even for the last several days, we've been watching on Chess24's Twitch channel rather than Chess.com's Twitch channel. And I suspect that the reason for that, I don't know it for a fact, is that they're overhauling Chess.com's platform in order to incorporate the Chess24 features that David was, which is way overdue.
I mean, for the sake of brevity, and I will attempt neutrality. And I will also say that while I do have opinions in this, I have to be a little bit. I have to be a little put a little bit of admittance into the fact that I am a completely biased person in this. I am a chess.com partner, and they pay me occasionally. For bits and bobs. So, I am biased in this. So, do we have any other news stories today? Is my next question.
I think aside from talking about the matchups for tomorrow or for round three, because we're trying to make it shorter and more efficient, I am looking forward to Maksudlu from Iran playing Donchenko. Donchenko got by the Polish Grandmaster Bartel today, and Cheparinov, who narrowly escaped Mr. Zvan, who I believe might be the brother of Rasmus Zvan, in that same bracket. I'm also looking forward to the clash of Jules Moussard, who I met at the Blitz Society in Paris, one of the top grandmasters in France. He's going to be meeting up with Wesley So, and my money is on the Frenchman. I'm going with Mr. Moussard over Wesley So tomorrow. I'm anxious to see what happens. Although I think the other Polish grandmaster, Mr. Wojtaszek, will probably take care of his Shitko, who took care of Sam Shankland. So Mr. Shitko may have his run ended here, but I'm very impressed that he got past. Someone earlier had expressed some fondness for Nils Grandilius, who's now in round three of Mr. Amin, which is good. The Egyptian grandmaster, who actually had a very good World Cup last year as well. So that's going to be a tough call. Even though Amin from Egypt is ranked 26th and Nils Grandilius is ranked 39th, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah, 39th. It could be a tight call for them tomorrow. Aryan Tari, of course, stands a very slim chance, if any at all, the unfortunate pairing that he has with Magnus Carlsen. Aragaisi is playing Fedosiv. I don't know that Aragaisi plays the Berlin defense as I believe he does. Aragaisi, or is it Gukesh? I think Gukesh also has the Berlin in his repertoire. So I hope I'm not grouping them together. But Fedosiv, I'm expecting a King's Gambit if Black answers E5 with E4. The King's Gambit is a guaranteed surefire way to avoid the Berlin defense. Any other matchups, David?
I think it's very unlikely we're going to see a King's Gambit. I wanted to point out that Gukesh is the number one player from India, and it's the first time that someone surpasses Vishy Anand.
He is the brand new number one player in India ahead of Anand. Excellent. Susan Polgar had let loose a tweet earlier in the day that had called it many years ago when she said that Gukesh will be the leader of the next generation of Indian players. And I didn't understand the tweet at that point earlier in the day until David just pointed that out. I thought that was very profound that she sort of she called it well in advance. And Daniel Navarre is playing Pragananda, the other very youthful hopeful from India. So I'm kind of curious. We could actually take a win, place, or show at the end of this particular year for the Indian players. Who's going to be at the top? Aragaisi, Pragnananda, or Gukesh, if they all really get into the battle for who's going to be the number one Indian player, number two, number three by the end of the year. If they were all able, cross our fingers, if they were all able to make that impossible leap to passing Anand.
I mean, Gukesh has a pretty strong lead.
Well, I don't know the numbers, but I do know that they can change in a heartbeat. on occasion change in a heartbeat, depending on how much these players need to play.
I'm very curious.
Will there be 2 Indian players in the candidates from this tournament? I don't see Pragnananda getting past Hikaru. I do see Aragaisi getting past Vasilagrov. I don't necessarily know if I see who's he playing tomorrow. Gukesh, is he still here?
Oh, Gukesh
Is he
is,
even
yeah.
in this? I don't see him. What bracket? I am quite surprised that Ali Reza did not make it. Nope, he's not playing. Gukesh is not playing in the World Cup, or he's eliminated. Oh, there he is. Gukesh, got him. He did not
Yes,
make it to the tournament.
an unfortunate realization that we missed it in our
He
earlier
might
news
have been one of
story.
the casualties.
But don't worry.
That's all right.
Of
You can
course.
edit out much of our riffing
Artificial
harassment
intelligence
here,
makes my job
including this
amazingly
intro.
easier.
But he played on the World Cup knockout, Gukesh. 2 games. The first round.
World Cup
I don't know.
knockout.
He played
What
against
bracket?
Iskandarov. He played.
I only have one Gukesh on this entire page.
Yeah, he only played the first round though. There's only the results. He gained 5 rating points, and then there's no more games.
What is Gukesh's first name? I know, right?
You're putting me on the spot.
I'm drawing a
Setting
blank
us
myself.
up for failure here, John.
That's all right.
Yeah,
Rogan's
absolutely.
gonna edit out both of them. I really can't find him anywhere. I see his name in the
Maybe
roster,
Wikipedia is wrong.
but I don't see him having
No,
participated.
Wikipedia is always a reliable source. Just ask history teacher.
Yeah, he's playing his.
Although they will sometimes reverse the names. That's why I thought.
Tomasharu Gukesh. That's his name.
Who did he play?
No.
Yeah, but who did he play? Sindarov? So in theory, coming into the tournament, he was ranked
8th place.
7th. And Domoraju is ranked 8th, so he should be next to Mamedurov and Rajabov. So that bracket is down below. They did reverse engineer those fellows.
I'm so confused.
As far as the numbers go from the bottom up. So he should have been in.
Oh, he's still here.
Bracket number 14.
Yeah, he's gonna play against. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. He's gonna play against another Indian player. He's in the same section 4. He's gonna play against either Paco Vallejo or Andrei Sipenko. It's section 4.
I don't see either of those players.
Mm-hmm.
Section 4.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's why I was asking for his first name. They have the name reversed. Because Gukesh is actually Domoraju might be his last name. They definitely reversed it. Got it. He had him by as the 8th player.
Chess culture, knowing the names of the players.
Yes, Anand is actually his first name. Anand is Vishwanath, and Vishy is his last name. In those heritage, the same thing happens with Juan Chun. Very casually drew her first 2 classical games. Unfortunately, she just beat the daylights out of her opponent in the rapid tiebreak. She probably could have won both games in the rapid tiebreak, but she only needed a draw to move on, so she's conserving her energy. But yeah, Gukesh is in bracket number 4, and he hasn't played anyone. Iskarandov, yes, I see it now, on a collision course with Esipenko and Ponzalejo. All right, gentlemen, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's games.
I mean, I might watch them, I guess, but it's not really my expertise.
But as there are fewer players, it makes it a lot easier.
It does.
A lot easier to swallow the pride. There were so many games going on today that I missed.
It's sad to say, but
entirely.
the player's pain is our gain.
Meanwhile, anyway, everyone have a great night.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this podcast. If you want to check us out on other places, MasterChessDojo and I stream. He is MasterChessDojo with a capital on each word and no spaces. I stream on Twitch at KingSlayerSloan, spelled as it sounds, with capitals on each word also. And Chess Chopin, he also sometimes streams as well. But he's most notably known for his music. So, look up Chess Chopin and music, and you should find something to look at. Thank you all for joining us today. Chess Chopin, would you like to bring us out?
Thank you all for watching. And I hope you guys have a great week.
Good night, everyone.